the great comprehensive immigration reform of 2013. So the funny thing about this so-called comprehensive immigration reform is that it's like not really reformy. According to the dictionary, reform, a change for the better, improvement, correction of evils, abuses, or errors, or to form again. So the funny thing about this comprehensive immigration reform that everyone's talking about is it doesn't really change anything. For example, anybody who comes here after December 31st, 2011, is still going to get deported. So are you trying to tell me that after all of this talk of change, immigration reform, for people who still come here without papers, they're still going to get deported and there's not going to be a new process in place that's going to allow them to gain status? That's exactly what I'm telling you. Which is to say, reform, if by reform you mean something new and different, isn't what's actually happening right now. What is actually happening is a couple of really interesting things. Border enforcement. Have you heard of this so-called secure borders? The cost of this so-called 13-year path to citizenship is going to be hefty border security enforcements. You say, wait, we have the sequester. We're also in an economic depression, recession. So where are we going to get the money to secure the borders? Oh, don't worry. They have $3 billion for 5 years to secure the border. And not just any old security. They want continuous surveillance of 100% of the border. I'm assuming they mean the southern border and not the northern border. With 90% effectiveness in high-risk sectors. I couldn't even get 90% effectiveness in my math class. Finally, the really interesting thing about this so-called reform for immigration is that it kind of leaves about a bunch of people. I'm talking about 11 million people in the country without papers. Except if you're a gay couple, if you're poor and can't pay the fees, if you can't speak English, if you had an old crime, say, I don't know, pretending that you were in this country with real papers, fake papers, if you've been deported and came back. So you're telling me that this immigration reform is going to secure the border, southern border, not going to provide a path to citizenship for everybody, and is not creating a system in place for future people who come here without papers or people who came here after December 31st, 2011. So where's the reform? That's a great question. That's a great question. That's a great question.